as an applicant, if you yourself are not using the right technology for creating your resume, you might as well not be selected by a technology.
If somebody was, riding a horse cart and was giving that service, would have not transformed themselves to become a driver, they would have lost the job. Nuclear energy, for example, is so important to us, right? You have bombs, you have electricity.
Yeah.
So don't be closed mindset. Be a growth mindset as a leader. Everybody is talking about it. People are saying it's not a hype. It's a reality.
So you're saying don't be anxious about it, be curious.
Be curious. So where you invest, where we all collectively focus on, is going to what the future looks like.
Our intelligence is what makes us human, and artificial intelligence is just an extension of that quality. Hello, and welcome to CXO Speak, brought to you by Zotter, where we bring to you insights, conversations, and interviews with the best in the industry. In our studio today, we have a very special guest. Allow me to introduce to you tech veteran, AI enthusiast, and a distinguished expert on the experts panel of Zotter, Tarun Malik. Previously leader at Microsoft PowerPoint and Office Video Products, country leader Southeast Asia for customer success at AWS and startups, Tarun brings with him an extensive experience of using artificial intelligence for product development and innovation. As a tech advisor, as a Harvard alum, Tarun very passionately advocates the use of business strategies for being future ready, thereby aiming at having enhanced digital and human interactions. As a co founder of Zaystack and Interview Club, Tarun empowers traditional businesses thrive in today's dynamic world through digital advisory, strategic innovative solutions, and workforce skilling. Tarun also spearheads Project Shikhar, thereby empowering more than 100,000 individuals through personalized support on artificial intelligence. Today's conversation is going to be everything on and about artificial intelligence and how AI is changing the face of businesses across the globe. So brace yourself. It's going to be Tarun Malik in conversation with our co founder, Arun Agrawal.
Thanks a lot, Tarun, for being with us. Artificial intelligence is the talk of the town.
Yep.
And Tarun is the guy who's been living this for, if not more, at least 15 years.
15 years.
Tarun is, your journey started with the businesses which were the enablers for the world, the tech enablers for the world, with the likes of Microsoft and the AWS. And you now, move to the stage wherein you are helping businesses learn, understand more about the AI and the use cases and the impact of it. And before we started, we were talking about the anxiety which is around there, about the advent of AI and the impact it could have on the businesses, on the employees, on the daily lives that we have. So let's just start with the first thing first. How's been the journey from the enablers to the enablers for the businesses?
Yeah. So thanks first for inviting me. I think it's the topic which everybody's talking about. But I think it starts off with everybody has to say anxiety, right? So we'll come to anxiety later, and that's what the reflection of mine has been. That all my career practically has been with the hyperscaler technology companies. So for us, something coming in new is pretty natural, right? I was born in the era of, when I say born in the era, like when I entered the industry, the internet came. And all the thing that I have learned in the past was non-internet, like mainframe, computers, And then we started off with internet. So for me, the first change came in immediately when I came into the job. The second change came in when mobiles came in, right? A cloud came in, compute came in, and this is the third change. So as a person who has been in the industry of the hyperscalers, technology companies, change is pretty natural to us. But when I look outside, right, that natural thing that we have may not be with the others. So there is anxiety. There is a lot to give back to the industry to say, look, when you really look at some of these tectonic shifts, for something which is so natural for the companies which are hyperscalers, How do you start adopting these technologies? There is a gap.
Yeah.
There is definitely a gap. And that is what excites me today. Coming out of hyperscalers, seeing the real life situation, seeing the anxiety, seeing how can I be different? What will happen to my job? What will happen to my business? What will happen to my employees? Is something that we really need to solve for, and that is what excited me to come out and start helping the other organization in the industry.
That's there, but for sure, when you were working with the hyperscalers, the thought process was different. You're coming into the business and now talking about the impact that they have had, the impact that they can have. You're talking about the new age technologies at that time in the form of internet and mobile, and the way it kind of impacted the businesses like the cab hailing, the retail business. It could also be the same kind of change that one can see once the AI's use cases are much more prevalent, clearer, acceptable to the wider janta, right? So with that as a perspective, I'm sure this is gonna be an exciting journey wherein you are on a daily basis, you are talking to businesses about things that are being done in the specific way, and you come up and say, "Hey, do you really need to do it that way?" Yeah. So, what's your take on that? Some of the examples that probably you would be happy to share with us there.
So, first and the foremost thing you need to remember is that you have already changed with the AI, right? In your personal life, you're using phone. You take beautiful images, right? And it suddenly zooms in, zooms out.
Yeah.
It is able to autocorrect. Then you send it to on a WhatsApp to your friend, your family, and then you press the voice button on the WhatsApp, right? And then you start speaking.
Yeah.
It is able to type the message that you are saying, and then you send it simplistically. Then you want to understand something, you are in a market, you look at a product, you don't know what this is, you want to find out whether it's organic, inorganic. You take out your camera, open the Google, click on a camera button, it looks at the picture, and it is able to tell you,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? What are you doing? You're using AI. So it's already there with you. So the whole part of saying, is AI a bolt-on in my life, which is going to, how is it going to impact? It's already in your personal life. So start accepting the fact that it is helping you, right? So you talked about how simplistically people could actually create a business which was mom and pop shop, and then came internet, and suddenly the world opened for them.
Yeah.
You had e-commerce sites like Shopify,
Yeah.
Amazon, who came in, who disrupted. So the two ways to look at it, they came in, they disrupted the business, but they also created so much opportunity for so many people in this country, right, who could sell their products outside the local zone and the ambit of their influence, and suddenly they become part of the overall economic
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Similarly, if you really look at it, the way AI is going to become pervasive in your life. So you have three senses, right? When I was giving the personal life example, the voice,
Yeah.
the language, the ability to see, search
Yeah.
things,
Yeah.
right? And then able to compute
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
These three things are there with you now. You're using it in your personal life.
Yeah.
So you should not be anxious about it. Enjoy it because you're enjoying it in your personal life. So start embracing the fact of saying, if I am doing it in my personal life, what is it that I can do in my professional life with this?
Yeah.
Because my personal life is happy.
Right.
Talking is natural.
Yeah.
So I loved the way I could do a voice message. So start thinking about your organization and say, where am I forcing people to type? Where a service engineer with so many different dialects and languages can simply create a service request using voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then your life will start to change. You don't need to start thinking differently.
So you're saying don't be anxious about it. Be curious.
Be curious.
Be curious about what are the areas where I can use it.
Yep.
Right. Interesting. Now, once somebody starts getting curious about it, there will be a lot of questions around how to do it.
Yes.
What would be your take around that? Because one thing that you would generally see in new technologies and anything which is new is that there are only handful of people who actually have lived it, understood it. And if there are a lot of information around me about what could happen, what should I do, how do I do that, At the same point in time, there are only limited handful people who understand it well, right? So what should be the first and the foremost thing about, if I am a business and I say that, okay, I am open to discuss ideas around how this can help me in my business, what should be the first step that I should take to be able to at least start getting right answers to my questions?
That's a very, very good question, right? So, if you want to learn about something, what do?
Read.
You go meet people who are
Yeah.
aware about that.
Uh-huh.
Get aware.
Hmm.
Get aware about the ecosystem. Have people come and talk to you about. Go to different sessions. Just get aware is the first step. Information is so much available today. You need to find the right people. Go talk to them. So to kill anytime you are anxious about something, right? What is the first thing that you do? You basically go and read about it. You basically go get yourself comfortable with the idea, start using few things here and there, and say, yeah, now I start to understand how it is going to impact me, right? But I think when we were kids, right, when we had to go to college, we were all anxious about which college to go to. It was new. Every life stage is new.
Oh, yes.
So what do? We go research, we go meet, we go to colleges, we go visit them. Right? That's awareness. So getting aware about something which is happening around you is the first fundamental shift that you need to bring in your mind.
Yeah.
So don't be closed mindset. Be a growth mindset as a leader. Think about the fact that everybody is talking about it. People are saying it's not a hype. It's a reality. Then reflect on a fact, because of that awareness that you will have, that I am using it. That will kill your anxiety, right? And there is then a structured way to going and understanding the way that you can approach this whole AI journey within your organization. So my first step, as always, has been go get yourself comfortable with the idea, go get awareness about it, go to sessions, understand what people are doing in your industry, peers, competitors, go to other use cases, go and assimilate yourself around other use cases of how things are impacting. If I can write an email and half of that email can be predicted by an email software, right, then there is certainly something which is happening which is right.
Yeah.
So just that's a valid path to look at.
Got it. So I'll take a back step once, and then we'll get into detail about it. But there is another thought process that generally, I've heard people talking about, is that, see, this is about the big businesses. They have the wherewithal of using the big LLMs and being able to spend more to be able to use these kind of technologies, and that's where probably the Googles have been able to do much better than probably the smaller ones. But what happens with most of the technologies is that with time they start getting affordable, they start getting accessible, and there are two clear diverged views around it. One says that the LLMs are gonna be much more affordable, accessible, and hence the enterprises will be able to use it as a base for their use case, which effectively can result into the results that internet combined with mobile brought to the businesses. And the other one says no, it's probably not gonna happen. What is your say around that?
See, we are seeing the benefits
Yeah,
of AI.
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's pretty clear. And if I just look at every walk of the industry, right? Whether you're being productive inside the organization, whether your processes are getting enabled through automation using AI, it's really giving us benefits today, right? Today we can do kind of research on medicines that were not possible today because of all these things available. And the reason why, and when something starts to give you benefit, people start to really think about, how do I democratize this, right? There is a lot of work that is still required to bring the cost down, no doubt about it. But at the end of the day, if you really look at it, there is an ecosystem which has already started developing. A lot of times, what happens is that, as you said, the way to look at how internet changed my world when I suddenly started selling outside, right? How did it change my world when I had mobile in my hand? Similarly, over a period of time, my first phone that I brought in, right? That was roughly around $10,000 about 20 years back, and $10,000 at 20 years back was very expensive.
Yeah.
The call rate used to be about 8 rupees. And in fact, it was 16. I didn't buy it. So when it became 8, I bought it. Right? So similarly, it will have its own curve, right?
Yeah.
Prices will drop. I remember, the first LED TV that came in.
Yeah.
$80,000. Today it is $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
Things become commodity after a period of time.
Yes.
Right? There are organizations who are developing LLM, which are open source. Now, because of these open source LLMs coming in, the use cases are coming in. There are many startups that are getting funded. So the ecosystem will create these kind of services for you. You didn't go and ask Gmail, right, to start doing auto prompting for you.
Yes.
It is doing it for you now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Similarly, so many other things will start getting developed by the ecosystem player, which is like startups in India, right? Which are going to use these open source LLMs, bring the cost down. And then when you find these software and applications coming in, it will become very easy for you to start adopting them. So, yes, there is always a cost when a new technology comes in. But we all know that with time, the cost comes down. The question that you need to ask yourself is, do I need to wait when it becomes a commodity and somebody else has already disrupted me, or do I start adopting and be smart enough to say what I can do now?
Yeah.
Or prepare yourself for next 2 to 3 years before somebody else starts doing it. So that's the way to look at it. People who adopted mobile, who adopted internet earlier, were far more successful.
Oh, yes.
Others became me too.
Oh, yes.
Similarly, you need to start thinking now. Partner with right players now. Partner with right startup now. Give your use cases. And I'm sure there are smart enough people in the industry who will be able to create some or the other odd service or improve your current products and services using AI. Then somebody else has to do it.
Makes sense. So before we get into the discussion around, getting into the details of a business, as in what all are the areas where AI can have an impact. But given that you have already touched upon this idea, let's just touch upon that before we move ahead, which is about are we at a stage wherein any new idea, any new use case that somebody comes in, is it something that has to be built from scratch, or the ecosystem is already to a stage where most of the use case that I talk about probably is being worked upon by somebody here and there, some open source information and tech would be available, which can mean that, probably what I'm thinking about is not as expensive as it could have been.
Now, that's a very valid question, because so there are 3 layers that I talk about to anybody who is running a business. And it depends upon the type of the business that they are running, right? The first layer is that I want to change and adopt few things in my ecosystem. Now, with the coming up of the ecosystem of startups, right, with LLMs being available, open source LLMs being available on GPUs with the hyperscalers as well, right? So, for example, Meta's Llama is available on Azure and AWS, right? You can go and start using it. Install is available. There's so many other LLM which are available even on the hyperscalers. That startup ecosystem has started building a lot of use cases. So today, I don't think any startup can afford to say that they're not an AI startup, right?
Yeah.
Which is slightly crazy, I would say, but it's okay. We'll live with that for some time. So, and I think there will be a variant of the use case that you will have where somebody in the ecosystem is trying to solve for the same. Right? When I look at use cases being solved at a farmer level, where a farmer today is able to take a picture of a crop and say whether what kind of pesticides is required, what pest is there using AI. I am pretty sure and reasonable that your business will have a use case.
Oh, yes.
If your business has a use case, I would not say it's 100% matches, but I'm reasonably sure that some other startup ecosystem which is thinking about a similar use case,
upon it,
right? Now, why are they building or not building, or it's just an idea? Maybe it's because they are not finding the right customers. You could be their first customer as well. But there are enough and more players in the ecosystem which can help you create the thing that you want. So when I say at the first layer, when you're starting to think, right? So when we have 2 frameworks. One is an assessment tool and the other is the framework. The assessment tool is something called as gear. So we talk to you, we'll figure out could be done self-assessment model also, but we do assisted assessment also, where we map your journey and you tell you which gear you're in. So if you're we all know cars, right? And
Yeah.
there are gears in the car. So you can be stuck in the first gear, you could be stuck in the second gear, you want to move to the fifth gear of growth. So we'll tell you which gear you are in. Once we have identified your gear, we will bring a framework called a shift, because you need to shift your gear, right? So when we do this assessment, right, then we really understand the organization and say, okay, you typically will fall into three categories. The first category is your use cases are pretty much something that other people we think we have heard in the industry. Here are a bunch of the folks and the startups who are currently building on these. Go and start adopting them. Like I don't need to create a vision API. So today, if a drone is going, right, if I need to go and do a pipeline check of a building. Let's say I'm a builder who does multiple buildings and there are pipes and the inspection needs to happen. I don't need to do all of that stuff. I can have smart cameras. I can take a picture. The AI model will say how good or bad it is, right? So you can just simply go and adopt technology. Go search the ecosystem, find the right partner, adopt the technology. Second, the stage is where your case is slightly unique. Right? We're manufacturing stuff which requires certain specific learnings. So we were working with a company which had meat products, right? So now when they do poultry, they have meat products. They wanted to identify and create a model which said, I want to look at the meat and say, if the meat is old enough, should I discard the meat?
Okay.
Right? If the meat is going to go bad in next 2 days, should I discount it at 75% and sell? Now that required, and then they had them in manufacturing and they had their all the kind of plan for packaging and all that stuff. That required a bit of training. I'm working with another customer which does the panel manufacturing. Right? Their panels are unique.
Okay.
Now for that you require certain dedicated training of the models. So for that, what you need to do is you can't pick up something which is available in the market, but you can pick up something, train that thing and start using it. Train it with your own data. So that becomes relevant for you. So that's the second stage. Depends upon your type of the organization you are in.
Right.
Third and the last stage is somebody who would start building it when you don't have it. So whole idea of people talking LLM, coming in, oh, there are so many models, start doing that, start doing this. Am I an AI company? Do I need to hire data scientists? No. It's very simple. Dissect your organization. You know your business the best.
Oh, yes.
Get somebody to help you. To understand whether your use cases are something that the industry is already serving with. If yes, start adopting it tomorrow. That's the first step of your journey. Second is train. Third is we'll worry about creating a rocket which has needs of.
Got you. Yeah, right. So, you would have tasted the success by the time you come to a stage where you say, okay, I need to build something, right? Because if somebody has done 50% of my job, that can actually give me the comfort that, where I'm going is a right path, right? So I get you. And this is something which is very important because most of the time, business of a specific size and scale always, come back and say that, okay, see, this is something which is new, which is extra expensive. Do I really need to think about it? And that is where the discussion closes. That is where, you stop checking for a use case for yourself. And I guess this is the message that, there might as well be a ready model available. You might as well just copy paste it, do it. Probably it's not 100%, but even if it is 80%, you are 70% more efficient, if not exact 80%. Absolutely. Right? So, so finding right opportunities, use cases within the business is important.
Yes.
Great. So we've talked about how and what can be done in AI. But I guess what is the most important for our audiences is, what is it fun for me? How do I start looking at it? And at times it is not very easy for somebody to start learning it from the scratch because he doesn't know where to start with, right? So, given that you have actually done it, you're discussing with a number of businesses, and we are together doing that with a number of cases. What can help a lot of the audiences when we can actually deep dive into specific use cases that we are generally seeing in most of the businesses. Let's take a standard business into manufacturing and start with one department at a time and see what all could be the easy low hanging fruits for a business. So to start looking at ways through which an AI could be involved into the business. Probably it's not something which can actually change the way they do it, but at least they can start thinking about it, right?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. The way to look at anything, and AI is, I would always say AI is just a tool to do things better.
Yes.
Right? It's just a facilitator. Human is always at the center of the job. Now, there are, firstly, bifurcate your thought process into two segments. First is, how can I leverage technology, and AI is going to be incidental, as I keep saying incidental, because always remember the tools that you're going to use are going to come with that AI capabilities. So, if I look at internally as an organization, how do I do my job better? Which means, how do I save money? How do I become more productive? How do I become more efficient? How does my quality improves? That's first bit of how things will need to be thought through and the impact of that within the organization. The second would be, if I'm creating something for my customer, whether it's a consumer, whether it's a government, whether it's citizens, whether it's businesses, the product at the end of the day, a product or a service that my end customer feels, right, or buys, how is that going to change? So there are clear two distinctions. One is growth and customer lifetime value. The other is internal, productivity, efficiency, costs.
Yeah.
So once you segregate these two, my typical recommendation is that go division by division and start thinking. And that is why we give real life examples of how things are happening. First, let's look at your organization, right? Today, all the job descriptions can be built and personalized using very smart AI job description tools, right? The ability to create those job descriptions, craft the job descriptions is done using these tools by HR. So HR needs to start thinking, if I am hiring in lot, if I'm opening up positions, how do I start creating these personalized job description much faster? The first, so by the way, the person who's going to apply is also going to create a resume using the some AI tool or the other. And that is why the second level that happens with the HR is, how do I do screening of these?
And that is where there is this saying that says that if you yourself are not as an applicant, if you yourself are not using the right technology for creating your resume, you might as well not be selected by a technology.
Yes. No, this is all a very, very interesting place where we are at the journey, right? So, and then your first level of resume will be scanned by an automated tool, which will say, oh, for this job description, this resume looks nice. So, which is good and bad. It also puts a lot of pressure back on people who are creating these tools, because you need to be making sure that machine is not taking a decision which is wrong. Right? It is ethical. It is inclusive. Right? It has diversity built into it. It understands human emotions context. So it's not going to be an easy job, but people are on that go. But it is going to eventually happen. So your HR starts thinking about resumes, job, interviews. So basically your hiring is getting impacted by AI using these tools.
And as we speak, it is already happening.
It is already happening. So I have another venture, which is Interview Club. We are very, very focused on, as you see, every company is becoming digital company. Since every company is becoming digital company, whether it's a customer facing products or internal facing products, the demand for product managers is going up in this country. So there is a lot of demand, right? We have to get people ready for that job. So we spend a lot of energy via Interview Club with my co-partner to really help people get sharpened on the product management skills. Building global products. How do you crack the interview of the product? And some of these sensitive topics are coming over there. That is my resume going to be first scanned by a company? So how do I write my resume? I've even heard to an extent where people are saying the first round of interview can be done by a bot. Now, it's a very smart place to be in, but then imagine you going in and a bot coming in asking you questions. Now you're suddenly conscious by the fact that, oh, this bot is sensing me.
Oh, yes.
Right? Just like a human brain, and I don't know whether it will be able to sense me right or not, right? So you're becoming very conscious. So you're moving away from your core subject of product management and becoming anxious, as we said like earlier. So we have to start solving for that problem. So we have to get people ready for being comfortable and talking to a bot and giving an interview, right? So at product management side, we do a lot of that stuff via interview club. And that is what we are seeing with the HR organizations. So we are talking to HR, we are talking to organizations, we are seeing shift happening over there. So how people are hired is changing using AI. How people are going to then be given the job and the KPIs and KRAs would also be impacted by that. So because HR is starting thinking about talent management very differently. If I bring in a person into my organization, see earlier when people used to come in, there used to be a common standard induction sessions. Right? Now, how can I bring in people in manufacturing and train them faster? Can I use AR, VR technology to make that learning curve shorter? So earlier, for example, when you have to go to a manufacturing plant, you had to explain to the people, get them ready on comfortable with the idea of manufacturing specifically for your domain and your products, right? Now that learning curve was higher. Today, using AR and VR, I can cut down that technology stuff. And earlier you used to have glasses. Today you have it on phone. I've seen people having apps on the phone, looking at the particular machinery and giving them training materials based on that. Based on your training score and how you're doing, I can personalize. I can either accelerate and say you are ready in 15 days, or I can say some of these additional things that you can do. All of this analytics that is working behind creating personalized training modules by the HR for an employee is a game changer.
Right. And the same way, if we are talking about a business which is having, people across multiple locations,
Yes.
assessing them real time becomes very easy.
Very easy. So now you can have people deployed in Jodhpur, you can have Kanpur, you can have wherever you want to do it, in south of India, north of India, east of India, all connected by technology, centrally managed. The AR, VR technology, all that personalized learning is happening. So you know where the person is in the learning curve, and you can immediately start deploying them then. So your learning curve for getting people from onboarding to production is considerably changing because of technology.
Right.
Now, once people are there in that job, right, there are other use cases that start to appear. So how do I manage? So let's take, for example, another division, which is finance. You are from finance world. The kind of tectonic shift that you are seeing in the kind of advisories that are coming in or startups that are coming in who are building so much smarter financial tools is not funny.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? So today I can give my financial statement to an AI engine and it can actually tell me what went wrong or what went right.
Oh, yes. My first job was in 2006, and that is where the job was to just read the annual report of listed entities and create models around it. I feel like most of that can be done by a simple, bot that can quickly pick up the data, create a specific set of table, and rest is all a simple formula that goes behind it.
Correct. And it is able to create, today technology can create charts, graphs, presentation, all for you. One thing to remember when you are implementing or adopting such technology is that we are not there yet that it can take decisions for you. It will look at the data based on the collective knowledge of what the model has learned. It will give you certain recommendation. So use it like a recommendation engine, right? But not as a decision maker. So I tell the finance guys to say, have a look at the data, make your own judgment. So finance is getting changed in that sense. Like, so HR getting changed, onboarding getting changed, finance getting changed. Let's look at marketing. Today, you can create awesome product videos using AI tech. For your internal trainings, right, about products. There are tools that you can give a script. You can say, this is what my topic and my product is. It will create a fancy script for you. You say, these are my images. It will create a nice video. You give it your 3-second voice. It will create and assimilate your voice and your image and create an awesome training video. So your marketing is changing completely. Today you can, a personal life, for example, I was getting my house done, right? And I was talking to my designer and I realized, there is a gap between her understanding and my understanding. I went to an image creator tool. I went to DALL-E. Right? I actually sat with DALL-E, spoke to her for about an hour or so. She gave me beautiful images of precisely what I want. And I sent it to my designer. And her reaction was, oh God, is it going to take away my job? I said, no. Think about it, the fact that the 1 month that you and I would have wasted in you creating a design which would have not suited my taste This has given you a head start.
Right.
So design is changing. Manufacturing itself has a lifetime value. Today you have products which has sensors, right?
Yeah.
I talked about 3 sensors. Listening, hearing, talking, eyes, vision. If you just look at these senses, look at your machine that you are manufacturing. If you put these senses in, won't it be able to tell you that I can run or not run?
Yeah.
I'm overheated, I'm not overheated. Stop me for a predictive maintenance.
Today's car is a right example about
Exactly.
it. Yeah. So we are already using it. Just that probably at times you do not, we do not realize it that it is already there.
It is there.
It is already there.
That brings back to our first point, right? It is there in your personal life. Please start thinking in from a professional perspective. So manufacturing is changing.
Manufacturing is
Customer lifetime value is changing. With coming of cloud, and you all hear that SaaS providers, right? Today, when you are as a business, and we said you don't need to build things. There is an ecosystem of players which is there who are giving you software as a service.
Yeah.
They are there with you for a lifetime. Right? Today, when you buy an SAP, right, or you implement a CRM, or you use emails, right, or you use any analytical software, they are there with you for a lifetime. So think about your product and start to say, can my product be there with the customer for a lifetime? Water purifiers, water as a service. You spoke about car as a service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Electrical panels as a service.
Insurance businesses are changing.
Insurance businesses are changing.
Right.
So if you're a manufacturer of, let's say, wheels,
Yeah.
right? Think about smartly saying, what can my sensors give? Can I actually create new business streams? That's why I said internal productivity versus how I can get the ROI by implementing technology. Separate it out, because there is a lot of growth. So because you brought in a right point. Till now, whatever use cases we were talking about, what about internal productivity, efficiency? How can I become better? The point that you just brought in, just start thinking about your business and your products and say, can I create more revenue streams out of it? If I am car manufacturer, right, I'm starting to think, how can my car sensor data, I can tie up with insurance companies and give them so that the right value insurance can be given to my customers. Like not everybody needs to be charged.
Oh yes.
Same. Somebody who manages the car should actually be paying less.
Oh yes. And I'm reducing my risk.
Yes.
During this course, I'm significantly reducing my risk.
Yes. So start thinking about it from that lens to say, how do I create a customer lifetime value? How do I create this channel of data and start creating new revenue opportunities for my organization?
Got you. So effectively, there are two different ways one look at it. If it is internal, you say, okay, what is it that is taking up too much of my time and effort and can be kind of automated using technology? And second is there something new that can be built around it in terms of better customer experience, better value for money for them, and hence add a additional revenue stream?
Yeah. So clear message to CIOs, CTOs who are talking to the business owners or who are talking to their CEOs. Never use a single phrase which is technology as enabler. Go and educate your organization to say, I am going to look at two things. Technology as an enabler for my internal productivity, efficiency, cost optimization. Technology as a growth lever to create new services. Now, if you look at both these, then you are really leveraging technology and AI for changing your business. So a person who is only focusing on one is going to leave things on the table.
No, I can see that. You look at any professional service provider. He can actually look at it both ways. He can say that, okay, can I use technology to make sure that I'm efficient, I'm able to deliver better services within the same framework, everything else is good, I'm able to do better service, provide better service using the same set of employees. But at the same point, we can also start saying that, okay, is it possible for me to add wow to my customer, my client as well?
Yes.
Is it that he has all of his information available on his mobile, laptop, wherever it could be? Can he get a better value from me? Can he be assured that whatever is being delivered from our side is error free? Which effectively means that you can actually then look at scale up using the technology. Then it's just not about
so true
these two things. Then
see, it is not that these things were not there earlier. If you look at a manufacturing plant today, it used to have robotic arm for years now, right? And one of the things which we spoke about was democratization, cost coming down. Think of these LLM models in the new tech. It has significantly brought down the cost of training models, building it from scratch. That's a shift. Something which was there only for large manufacturers, because of this ability to train it faster, is now becoming available for all of us in the
Yeah.
industry.
Yes.
So that's the
yes.
first shift that has happened for Europe.
Yeah.
And it is only going to become faster now.
Yeah, exactly. But another thing that I look at it, and you can add to it, is that to a larger extent, the automation that we were talking about till now was a formula based thing, right? If
Yes.
this happens, you do that. The logic that a human mind puts is what Gen AI brings into it, right?
Correct.
So that's another angle to it. The technology can actually templatize things and accordingly give you the output till now. But now you are saying, okay, this is just one bit of it. Now it can, as you rightly said, it can hear, it can listen to you, it has motor skills.
It has motor skills.
So you're creating a mini me.
I would say it is going to be, the future is going to be coexistence, right? Probably I'm a little more optimistic than the old world, and I embrace things much faster, right? I always say, think of a baby growing, right? So baby what are the first steps? First steps, you start talking, you start eating, you start walking. It's there at that stage. Now, a lot of parenting is required for a baby to really become, a person. We are at a stage where we are nurturing this technology. How we nurture this technology, what ethics do we bring in, what laws do we bring in, what governance do we bring in, will define the way this is going to shape up. Nuclear energy, for example, is so important to us, right? You have bombs, you have electricity.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence, we have not reached the state of general artificial intelligence. I think it's still some distance away. But how we are going to shape things, how we are going to become coexistence, is going to be the first paramount of how this whole ecosystem will work. It's scary to see mini me, but at a lot of places you may need mini me. We are 8 billion population. Scarcity of resources is going to happen. Water anyways is becoming a crisis, right? Everywhere you see water wars starting to happen. If you just look at today, the heat waves that are going in, right? We need resources. To dig more deeper into Mother Earth and say we'll dig more is like digging your own hole and digging your own grave. So we will need to explore outside.
Yeah.
We will need to go out of this planet and figure out where else resources could be there, where else we can. Not every place will be safe for humans. So I need a mini me to go there.
Yeah.
I can't survive for 40 years in a journey to Mars and come back and be happy about it, right? I need a mini me to go there and start thinking about it. So there are places where mini me will be required.
Right.
So where you invest, where we all collectively focus on, is going to what the future looks like.
Makes sense. Makes perfect sense. So we've talked about how businesses look at it. What are some of the examples of, impact of this technology that can have on the business? But at the same point in time, there are employees, there are executives, and I guess there are two different angles that we should talk before we call it a day today. One, from the business side of it, it is business's responsibility, a CXO's responsibility to make sure that whatever change that anybody is talking about, the employees, the executives, the CXOs are comfortable about it. So they are also embracing the change, and there is less of an anxiety, more of a curiosity around it. What is your take in whatever discussion that you have had with businesses? What is it that is required from their end to make sure that the employees or the workforce is kind of getting ready for it and not getting anxious?
Yeah, no, such a beautiful topic. So, fortunately, one of my partner ecosystem comes in with a lot of background of HR, people, tech, and all that stuff. So, and this topic in many of the workshops that we do come out pretty seriously, right? So, and I divide the problem into three parts. First is the business owner. Now, if you really look at a business owner or a family business or a business family, right? They have sustained business because they have always been transforming. So they would love to embrace the change. They are looking for these ideas. They are talking to people. They know that shift is happening. So they are worried about the current state of the business, right? The second stage comes in is their leadership team, which is the CEOs they may be having. Because a lot of these businesses today in India are also run by professionals. They're family businesses, they're large business families, but they're run by professionals.
Yeah.
So the first layer has started seeing that. So when I interact and I get emails from, or I get a chat conversation from the business families or family business owners, I see them asking and saying, look, what are we doing about it? Because they have sustained business, they know how to sustain business, they know the shift will happen, they will get prepared for it. So second is about, is my leadership ready? So what is leadership thinking? And the job of the leadership is to start picking up signals. And that is where the gear and the shifts will start to play in. But one of the important aspects that we always tell the leaderships is, how are my people responding to this change? Today, if I'm talking about and saying, if I start, let's say for example, the quality work that we are doing for one of the customers is, they have design documents. That design documents will be given to an LLM model. That LLM model, based on industry standards, will tell you whether it's a right design or not design. Which means that the people who are doing design are now anxious. Are you going to bring in this tech to replace me? Am I threatened by this job? Right? So what do we do with those people? When I started off 7 months back, and this is a shift that is happening, I thought I will need 2 to 3 analysts and researchers, and I'll need 1 executive to just manage things for me. The amount of AI tools that I'm using has cut down that requirement by 1/5. Right? So people are anxious.
Yeah.
So when we look at an organization, when we talk to leadership, from a business owner's perspective, we tell them, we know that you are aware, right? Start getting your leadership to start thinking about how to change the business. When we talk to leadership, we say, look, you will start to think about how do I automate, but you need to start making those changes in your organization from a skills perspective, training perspective, psychological safety, empathy.
Yeah.
And start telling people that your life will change.
Yeah.
So that's a workshop that we do across M1, M2, like manager 1, 2, all the way up to individual contributors, to say how this whole shift is changing for you, right? How do you need to respond to somebody's psychological need? They have a family to run.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, if they are out of the job, then it's difficult. But they will be out of their job if they don't change. Right? If somebody was, riding a horse cart and was giving that service, would have not transformed themselves to become a driver, they would have lost the job.
Yes, and I guess this, which means that the point about don't be anxious, be curious is not limited to a business. It is equally important for the employee as well.
Yeah.
So in your case, the employee should ideally be saying, okay, great. Now this technology can help me be better and efficient in providing the services. I can be sure that whatever I have built is working perfectly, and I can spend more time in being creative about it. Right? I guess we are still far away from saying that the technology can be creative like a human being, right?
Yeah, I think we are. I think it's general artificial intelligence is still some distance away. I don't think that we should be worried about it.
Yeah.
I think we should be worried about how do I change myself. Not worried, but start kind of learning about it. And fundamentally, that if I have kind of 2 or 3 takeaways, as you said, curiosity, learning, coexistence with technology, coexistence with AI, be vocally self-critical about everything that you're doing, which can be done smarter, better, right? My daughter does smarter and better things than me, and I'm learning from them. So I have reverse mentors.
Yeah.
And start preparing your organization for that shift. That's the best way for you to remain competitive and have a growth.
Tarun, it was a great discussion with you, and I'm sure this is just a beginning. As we get into detail, we'll be talking more about. We'll require you to discuss more, use cases of technology for specific sectors. Thanks a lot for your time today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Arun, for inviting. It was a pleasure talking to you, and let's make this journey successful for all our customers.
Sure. Thank you.
Don't be anxious. Be curious. What an interesting perspective. And isn't that applicable to almost all the changes that happen in our lives? That was a penny drop moment for me during this entire conversation. Which was yours? We hope you enjoyed listening to this conversation as much as we enjoyed curating this for you. To know more about Zotter, log on to www.zotter.com. Do not forget to follow us on LinkedIn for professional updates. You can also follow us on our other social media accounts, the details of which are there in the description box of this video. This is Jyoti Harsh signing off for now. We'll meet again in another conversation. Until then, take care and stay blessed. Thank you.